Welcome back to the CDAMP course. I'm Manuel Gadi. You are here for exercise session 3. So you can find all the exercises in github.com/manuelgadi/Clariden_global_CDAMP and the CDAMP_exercises. We are now on the making of pandas data frame, session 3. So I'm going to fire it up from Jupyter Notebook because I've downloaded everything. And just for the start of this, I'm going to restart and clear output so I can run part 1, import this database here, yahoo.xlsx into my computer as a data frame, and how to get one specific column out of this data frame. Well, if I say df, I get all the columns. To get a specific column, let's say any column here, country, I can say country like this, and it works. However, some of the columns there that I have, if I say the column actually have several spaces in the name. So, for example, there is the 50 days moving average there. 50 days moving average. This 15 days moving average, it has spaces. So I cannot do as I did with country. What do I have to do instead? To work on this, I have to put square bracket at the beginning, at the end, and write this as a text, as a string of letters. How do I do that? I can put either double quotation or single quotation. That doesn't really matter. And this gives me the data as just the column. And it works either way for this and also for country. So if it's more generic if we use the square bracket with quotation, single or double quotation. Exercise 2. How do we select everyone that has 50 days moving average greater than 100? Well, look at this. If I copy this 50 days moving, this is how I select the data for that column. If I then say greater than 100, that will return me this error. It's because we are reading the data and some columns are not coming up in the correct type, specifically this one here. So there will be a class on data cleaning, but for cleaning up this, we need to use converting to numeric, and then we put the value there, and this will say that some values are not being able to convert, so we have to say course equals to true, and this, actually it's errors equal to course, and then this will convert, but sometimes will result with a none, that is a not, and we can say Fiona equals to 0, then that will become a 0 there. There will be a class, as I told you, in data cleaning, but this is a problem on when we were importing this data that had funny values, and then we're able to reset the value, and now we're able to say, oh, is it greater than 50 than 100? No, not in this case, not in that case, not in that case, but yes, in this case. And if I now want to get the data where that series of trues and falses is true, what I say is now I use this as my selector rule. So I say I get this and put between the brackets there, and that will give me the ones that are greater than 100. Very nice. So I can go and have a look here. Not all are greater than 100 in that 50 days moving average, but some are. So let's, this is the result of our query here for the 50-day moving average at greater than 100. Is it greater? Yeah, greater than 100. And we had to do a little bit of data cleaning here before running that. What else? How do we create a data frame from a list or a dictionary in this case? So in this case, I have exam date, I have score from a list, attempts, qualify, and labels. So how do I go and include all this data so that I can then go and create my data frame? So first of all, I have to create this, actually the dictionary here, it's already created for me. So what I can do is I can simply go and run this piece of code, and it's going to create me a dictionary. And that dictionary is formed of name with a list of values, score with a list of values, attempts with a list of values, and qualify with a list of values. All the number of values that I have here, it's always the same. It is 3, 6, 9, 10 values. Therefore, I can use pd dot data frame to create a data frame from this dictionary. So a dictionary, it will work like this. This is going to become the column name, and this is going to become the values in every row for that column. And then score will be another column, and those will be the values of those columns, and so on and so forth. So if I do this, it is going to create the data frame for me. However, all my data here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, have numbers. And in here, we have labels for the rows as well. So I can get these labels here and say, by the way, those are going to be my indexes for the rows. And if I create this way, it replaces the 0, 1, 2, 3 for those numbers. And if I now go df manual here, I've just created manual, and I say pd, I can go and say, as well as I normally do, df manual, create a manual this data frame. Very nice. Now let's see what we can do with this data frame here. If I go write a program to get the first 3 rows of a given data frame, sample Python dictionary and labels there. So I need to get the first 3 rows of this data frame. And how can I go and get it? I've already created the data frame. The data frame is called manual. And how do I get the first 3 rows? I can go and do like that, head 3, and that would do the job for me. However, in this exercise, just to make it different and to use the actual tools that we get in a dictionary, in a data frame, sorry, we can use the ilog. And with ilog, I can say the number of rows that I want. And then comma and the columns. So if I want all columns, that will be like this. If I want all rows, that will be like that. But if I want the first to the third, I can say this is for rows, and it will give me the first 3 rows. Of course, I can avoid saying this, so that will give me the same result. So I don't need to put 0. And this is 0 to length of df manual. How many columns I have? Well, I have this many columns. This is all the columns that I have. There are 0, 1, 2, 3. So it should be like this. But this is the maximum. It is the same as this calculation I'm here. But I could say 3 if I wanted to. I could say 2. But if I want to avoid the last column, I normally say -1, and I don't even need to know how many there are. If I leave it empty, that is up to the maximum. If I leave it empty here, this is beginning at 0. And this is the way we should go and get all columns, the first rows of a given dictionary, a given data frame, selecting with the iLog. Because I am using the actual numbers, maybe I can avoid putting the word log here, and maybe it gives me the result. But when it feels a little bit confused, it mandatorily generates an error. Then I have to say either log for names for the indexes and iLog for the numbers. And this is how we get it. Very good. Let's carry on. And let's write a program now to select the name and the score columns from that data that we have there. The data with the same data set that we have, so df underscore manual that we have here, we should select the columns name and score. For selecting one column, I can just say name here, and this is actually equivalent to say log. But log will have a problem because log requires rows and columns, so it's all rows and one column here. So this is equivalent to what I've just done there without the log, like this. And what happens if I want more than one column? That is column name and score. I cannot put the word score here. This is going to break. I need to provide a list here. And like that. So the first, what's go internally here, it's a list. And I can use log and get all the rows and those columns. Or because I want all the rows, I can avoid using the word log here and simply put name and score here. This will break, remember, because I need to say that what's going inside there is a list. So that's why it appears double square brackets here, and this gives me all those 2 columns that I just asked you. So name and score. You can also get it from iLog with all rows here. So rows and then columns. It's the same. Next, how do I find all the missing values in a data frame? So I want all the rows where there is at least one missing value. Okay. What's a missing value to start with? So if I go df manual here, I say, oh, this is a missing value, NaN. This is a missing value. Don't go and try to find something that is equal to NaN, because internally that's a numpy value. And actually you should, if you want to do this way, you should do np num like this. But don't do that. There is a function for that. There is a method called df is new. Is new will give you all the elements if it is true or if it's true or false. And because it's saying, oh, write a program to select where the score, there is a score missing here, and I'm gonna select this and do it for one column only. That is the column that has a missing value there. That is a score, and that column has some missing, some not missing values, and some missing values where you can see true. So how do I go and select using this? So I use this as my selector rule. And this will give me, sorry, I misspelled the name of the data frame. The data frame is called df manual. So now I have it. Now we have it. Df manual, and then square bracket, df manual, and the rule inside with it is new. Right. Number 7. Write a program to rename columns to a given in a given data frame. So instead of having call 1, call 2, and call 3 there, we want the new renamed data frame to be called call 1, call 2, and call 3. Right. First of all, for this case, I do need to create my little data frame here. So we don't have it. So I'm gonna say df. First, I'm gonna use the same idea as the index, as the dictionary. So I'm gonna create my little dictionary. Call it D to avoid problem, the word dictionary there. So, and then I'm gonna put the name of the column, column 1, and then all the values that are gonna go inside. And the values are, that we can see there, 1, column 1 is 0, 1, and 2. What we can see there, 0, 1, and 2. What's column 2? Column 2, it's gonna be column 2. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. Right. 1, 2, 3. Column 3, 7. Column 3. Oh no, actually, 0, 1, and 2 is the index. So column 1 is actually 1, 2, and 3. Column 2 is 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and 6. And column 3, it is 7. Inside here is 7, 8, and 9. And here we have the dictionary. How do we go? We say df, I'm gonna put it columns there. We go for pd data frame, and we simply pass my data frame there, my dictionary. Dictionary is dictionary D, and we have it. We there. And my problem is renaming this. So for rename, I have the method rename, where I can say columns, and then I can say a list, a dictionary of from and to. So I'm gonna rename column 1 to column 1. This is okay if I'm doing for one column. Oh, sorry, a mistake here. This is a dictionary. This is okay if I'm renaming one column. This is also okay if I'm renaming 2 columns, or even or 3 columns. This is one way I could rename it, but as I'm renaming the whole data frame, columns, I can simply put columns here and straight away put all the names like columns, column 1, column 2, and column 3 here. And this would do the job for me. Either way, if I say in here, I would have to say this in place. Otherwise, it won't rename it, or I will have to put it columns here. Either way, this works, or that other one works as well to rename my data frame. Here we go. Next, the next one is with this, write a program to give a list into a data frame. So convert this list of list into data frame. So this is my list of lists. My list of list, LL. And if I print LL, that's a list of lists. How do I turn this into my data frame? Well, I have to say my lists, I want to put it in a function format here. I need the name of the column, column 1, and then column 2. It's a little bit more complex because this is going to be the names, and those next will be the values for my data frame. And now I can do dfll equals to pd data frame, and then I pass my list of lists here by lists. And this, if I then run this with my dfdl here, I get what I need. Oh no, I actually need to break into a series like that. It is like this, and then it works as I said. Oh, but I actually, column 1 and column 2 are the headers, right? So I have to say that I put it wrong because those are the headers. So I have to say columns equals to this guy. I think this is the way I should actually do it. There was a comma here, so just remove the comma. And here's what I need. With the LL, I don't need to turn it into a list actually. I can just put LL and pass it straight away and pass the names of the columns. Don't need to mix them up. It's just simple as this. Number 9. How do I write a program to replace recurrent values in the database with the largest value? Oh, this is a complicated one. This one and this the next one, you can find the solutions at the bottom. Try it out. We come up here for the next session with the results of those two.